Most people assume that driving a 30-year-old German sports sedan means you need to own a gas station to keep it running. But today, we're going to bust that myth. Or maybe confirm it by putting this BMW E36 through a rigorous real-world fuel consumption test. We are not relying on the onboard computer, assuming the pixels on the display are even working, because we all know those 1990s electronics can be a bit optimistic. We are doing this the old-fashioned way. We're filling the tank until the pump clicks, driving a set loop, and then refilling it to see exactly how much fuel we burned down to the last drop. I've got a mix of city driving, with all the stop-and-go misery that entails, and some open highway cruising to see where this inline-six engine really settles down. First, let's talk about the city loop. The E36, specifically with the M50 or M52 engine, is not exactly a hybrid. When you're sitting at a red light, that 2.5 or 2.8-liter engine is idling away, burning fuel just to keep the accessories spinning. You take off from a stop, and if you're enjoying that torque a little too much, shifting at 4,000 revolutions per minute because it sounds good, you're going to watch that fuel gauge drop faster than your bank account balance after buying car parts. In the city, weight is your enemy. This car is not incredibly heavy by modern standards, weighing in around 1,300 to 1,400 kilograms, but every time you have to accelerate that mass from a standstill, the physics of it demands fuel. I noticed during the city drive that the gearing plays a huge role here. If you have the manual transmission, you have more control. You can short shift, keep the revs low, and try to hypermile it. But let's be real. The throttle response on these cars is cable-driven on the earlier models, and it feels so direct that you just want to press it. The heavy power steering also draws a bit of power. Now, transitioning to the highway is where things get interesting. German cars are bred for the Autobahn. They're designed to cruise at high speeds efficiently. Once you get this car up to 100 or 110 kilometers per hour, the aerodynamics, which are basically a brick compared to a modern teardrop-shaped car, start to fight you. However, the engine is remarkably efficient at maintaining speed. The drag coefficient of the E36 is roughly 0.32, which was decent for the time, but not groundbreaking. What hurts you on the highway is the gearing. If you're driving a model with a shorter differential ratio, say a 3.15 or a 3.91, your engine is spinning at 3,000 or 3,500 revolutions per minute just to keep up with traffic. That high rotational speed means more friction and more fuel injections per minute. But there's a sweet spot. I found that if you lock it in fifth gear and keep a steady foot, avoiding unnecessary passing maneuvers, the economy is surprisingly respectable. The Vanos system, which is BMW's variable valve timing, helps here by adjusting the cam timing to maximize efficiency at cruising loads. It's not purely about performance, it helps burn the fuel cleaner and better. During my test, I also kept the windows up and the sunroof closed to minimize drag, although I did run the air conditioning because, well, I'm not going to suffer for science. If your fan clutch is seized, by the way, that's going to rob you of horsepower and fuel efficiency, sounding like a school bus taking off, so make sure your cooling system is maintained. After driving the combined loop, we pulled back into the station, the moment of truth. I pumped the gas, waiting for that click, then I did the math. Kilometers driven divided by liters used. And the result? It's honestly not as bad as the forums would have you believe. In the city, we struggled. The efficiency dropped significantly, hovering around the numbers you would expect from a large SUV. It's thirsty in traffic. But the highway figure brought the average up. It proves that if you maintain these cars, keep your spark plugs fresh, make sure your oxygen sensors are actually reading correctly and not lazy, and ensure your tire pressures are set to specification, you can daily drive an E36 without needing a second mortgage. It's never going to beat a modern four-cylinder turbo in efficiency, but for the miles per gallon, the ratio is off the charts. You're paying for the experience. You're paying for that intake noise, that rear-wheel drive balance, and the connection to the road. So, is it economical? Purely by the numbers, no. But is it worth it? Absolutely. Next time you're at the pump, filling up with premium, because yes, you should be using premium fuel to prevent knocking and get the best timing advance, just remember that you're feeding a legend. And a quick tip for you guys, if you really want to improve your consumption, check your fuel filter. It's often overlooked, tucked away under the car, and a clogged filter makes your fuel pump work harder and can mess with your fuel trims. Replace it, and you might just gain back a few kilometers per tank. Until then, drive it like it was meant to be driven, but maybe coast a little more to the red lights if you want to save a few pennies.